Alright, so in this video we're checking out the Musu MT720 robot vacuum. So this one comes with obviously the robot vacuum. You get a remote, instruction manual, quick start guide, you get a couple of spare side brushes and a spare HEPA filter, as well as a spare filter sponge. And of course you get the charging dock as well as the wall adapter to supply power to the charging dock. Now, taking a look at the robot vacuum itself, it's a pretty typical design, similar to most of the robot vacuums in this class, and I would consider this to be the budget class. This is the under $200 class. There's a lot of robot vacuums in this class. So we have basically your bumper here in the front. So as it's going around the room, it bumps into objects. It'll change directions after it hits an object or a wall. On the underside here, you have your two side brushes that constantly spin and draw in the dirt and dust into the main area where the main brush is. And this actually spins around here. The suction power is 1800 PA, so it's pretty decent for this class. And then you get your dust bin here on the bottom. And you just release the dust bin by pressing down on this latch. Comes out, and then you can just pop open the lid like this. You can see it's pretty dusty. I've been using this for about a week now, and maintenance on this is pretty simple. So if anything gets clogged in here or stuck inside the main brushes, you can just pop this little lid off here, and then this comes out, and you can clean up this area in case anything gets stuck. And of course the bottom here is pretty standard. You have your two wheels as well as your direction changing wheel here, and it's on some shocks, so it can go over various objects, like low objects like rugs, mats, that kind of stuff, as well as if you want to vacuum up hardwood floors, it's going to work on this totally fine. And the only thing is that sometimes if it goes over an object that's kind of loose, it doesn't stick to the ground, like a towel for example, or any kind of object that's not really fixed to the ground, it can cause the robot vacuum to get stuck, and in which case it will require manual intervention to get it unstuck. So this vacuum does have smart app support for your smartphone, and you can enable the Wi-Fi by powering up the vacuum first and then pressing and holding the bumper in and holding the power button, and that'll turn on the Wi-Fi, and then you can basically pair it up to your network. However, I wasn't able to get this to work on my network because this particular robot vacuum only works with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi networks, and the one I have in my Wi-Fi router only does 5.8 gigahertz. So I was unfortunately unable to test any of the stuff in the smartphone app. Now, supposedly you can connect this to your Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, basically give you voice commands to start and stop cleaning, which you can do with the remote. I'll show you that here in a second. You also get some additional information like battery charge and also access to the different functions, but you can also access all those functions via the remote anyway. Now, the other thing that the app can show you is the internal map that is built by the robot vacuum. As it goes around a room and bumps into objects, it develops an internal map, so it kind of knows where it's already cleaned and where it needs to clean. And the app can show you that, but of course, I'm not sure how useful that is for you. Visually, you can see what's been done, I suppose, but if you let the vacuum complete its cycle in a room, and assuming it doesn't get stuck anywhere, it basically will cover the entire room using basically a smart algorithm inside the computer that will determine where it needs to actually clean the room and what actually hasn't been done. So you can just if you don't have the app, it's not a big deal. You can just basically trust that the vacuum does go through the whole room, and it will eventually figure out where it needs to go, and we'll get the job done. Now, you can pretty much operate the entire vacuum with just the remote itself. You don't really need the app at all. And I was using this for about a week, and without the app, it had no problems using this. You can actually do manual control here with this little jog dial, but the whole point of this is to have this automated. So it's kind of pointless to do manual cleaning here. Basically, you just turn on this little home button here. It will basically send the robot vacuum back to the charger, and it actually is able to figure it out. Now, it does say in the manual that you need to have like 1 meter of space to each side, and it needs to have a certain amount of clearance. Now, my house is pretty small. Couldn't find an adequate space to put it with enough space on the side. So Sometimes it had a hard time finding the charger and going back, but about half the time it was fine. But my house is so small that I basically would just turn it on, get it going, and then when it was done, I would just manually put the robot vacuum back on the charger if it needs to be charged. So as you can see here on the remote, there's a couple of different functions like wall cleaning. So I'll basically just crawl along the side of a wall and clean that section. There's spot cleaning. It just goes around in a spiral, in a circle. In one section, it just spot cleans that one section. There's a turbo button that will basically increase the suction power from level 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to do more deep cleaning on a carpet with a lot of dirt that's in there, you need more suction power, you can increase the suction power with this button here. Obviously, the more suction power you use, the lower the battery life. So on the lowest setting, you get 2 hours of battery life, and on the highest setting, I was getting about an hour of battery life. Now the full go button here, as you can see, if you hit that, it's just 2 times cleaning. So basically what it does is it will go through a room and just basically go over and over and over in that one room until the battery needs charging. It'll charge up, and then once the battery's charged up, it will do that room again. So if there's a certain room that you want cleaned, it might take a long time, of course, because you have to wait quite a while. I think it's like 3 hours to charge the battery. You can basically press this button and it will clean the room twice. Now overall, it pretty much worked as I expected. I found that it did get stuck here and there on occasion. It does actually talk to you and will give you some like a verbal indication that it's stuck, and eventually it'll just power down. It won't actually just keep on staying stuck and draining the battery completely. It'll eventually figure out, oh, it's stuck, and then give you an audible warning and then tell you, and then basically shut itself down. So if you happen to not be in the room, if it gets stuck, it will automatically shut itself down after a certain amount of time. But for the most part, I found it worked very well. If you're going to use this as your primary vacuum, you probably want to go for something a lot higher end. I would recommend something in the $400 to $500 range with a lot more power. This is mainly going to be good for sucking up like dust and hair, smaller debris. It doesn't quite capture everything. Obviously, a manual vacuum with a lot more suction power is going to capture everything. So this is more or less for like sort of maintenance and keeping the floor dust free. And it's actually surprising how much dust this thing actually picks up. And you have to actually pretty much empty it after one or two times using it because it does fill up the dustbin pretty quickly. So yeah, it's kind of shocking how much dust there is actually in a house that you can't really see. And this thing, if you just basically put it on a schedule in the app, you can just have it automatically clean a certain time of day, maybe every day, and that could help keep your keep the house clean in terms of maintenance level. And then maybe once a week you can manually go through and do all your cleaning in terms of like a more deeper cleaning for the areas of your house that actually need it. So how does this compare to some of the other ones in the same class? This is $160 on Amazon right now with a $20 coupon, so $140 as of today. It has 1800 PA of suction power. Now the one in this same category that Amazon calls the Amazon Choice for the robot vacuums is 150, no coupon. It's made by Eufy, and that one only has 1300 PA of suction power. So it's not as much suction power, but pretty similar features and about $10 more. And that one is apparently the Amazon Choice. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that one compares to this one because I haven't actually used it. Just looking at the specs, on a sort of a cursory level, it just seemed like this one is a little bit better value because it has more power and actually costs about $10 less. So yeah, overall, I say I would recommend this. Now, if you have a same situation with the Wi-Fi network that I'm in, where you only have 5.0 gigahertz and you want to be able to use the smartphone app, then this is probably not going to work for you. You're going to want to go for a different model that can actually use 5.0 gigahertz. For me, it wasn't a big deal. I could pretty much do everything with the remote, and the whole point of this is to basically set it and forget it. I would just press the button and off it would go and start cleaning, and then when it's done, it would just go back to the charger. So I thought overall that worked out pretty well for me. Anyway, full disclosure here, Moosu did send me this vacuum for review. They did not pay me for this review, and they just are seeing this video the first time that you guys are seeing it without any editorial input from them. It's just my opinion and my opinion only. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you found this video helpful, let me know down in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.